Hey, I'm Ben Aarons, co-founder of Reorigin, where we teach you how to reclaim your health by retraining your brain. Today, I'm in the conversation corner, joined by Katie, our head coach at Reorigin. And in this video, we're going to talk about somatic tracking. What is somatic tracking and how does it work for chronic pain? So this is a term that actually I've come across more and more. A lot of our members refer to somatic tracking. And basically what somatic tracking is, it's a way of reprocessing our symptoms and particularly unpleasant sensations. So there's a lot in that. What does it mean to reprocess? Why do we want to do it? Basically, the little bit of back information that we need is that sometimes when we've been struggling with a condition or pain for a significant period of time, the brain can learn to interpret these unpleasant sensations, and they are unpleasant, as threatening or dangerous. And in most cases, especially when it comes to chronic pain or chronic conditions where these sensations aren't necessarily tied to a real present threat in the environment or in the body, then the brain has basically set off a false alarm. It's taken a signal and it started to alert the brain, particularly this part of the brain called the limbic system, and this can lead to this cascading effect of cortisol and adrenaline and inflammation in the body. And what we want to do with neuroplasticity and this specific technique known as somatic tracking is actually not to resist or tune out those sensations. It's actually the opposite. We want to tune into those sensations, but do it in such a way where the brain is going to start to make a new association and get a different message that actually these sensations, as undesired and unpleasant as they may be, are not actually dangerous or threatening, and therefore it allows the nervous system and the body to stay calm and allows us to come into homeostasis. So what are some ways that we can practice somatic tracking?
Yeah, so really the best way to practice somatic tracking is, like you said, Ben, is to just really lean in to the sensations that we're feeling, right? So think about anything that you've ever been afraid of. When we respond with fear, what do we tend to do? We tend to avoid, we tend to run away, we tend to clench up, we tend to do all of those types of things. But when we are practicing active somatic tracking, we learn that we can be in the presence of these sensations. And the cool thing is we can learn to be in their presence without making them bad or good. And so we don't have that desire to run away. So really the best way to practice this is simply to notice the sensation in your body. And I also want to add that this can be a physical sensation, like with chronic pain, because that's really what we're delving into, but it can also be an emotion. So just something to add there. But really what you want to do is you want to start by just noticing the sensation in your body, whether it be a painful sensation, whether it be, I'm feeling anxious and I'm going to notice it in my body. So we start by just noticing where that thing is in our body and putting our focus on that thing in our body, all the while we're being curious. We're not attaching any meaning to it. We're not saying this is good, this is bad, or anything like that. We're really being positive. We're sending loving messages to ourselves, right? Reminding ourselves nothing is permanent. I'm safe here, right? I might not feel safe. That doesn't mean I'm not safe. So, I'm safe here, and really sending those loving messages as you notice those sensations. You can also kind of create a visual around the sensations. Maybe the sensation feels, big and round and bright orange, or maybe the sensation feels kind of sharp and pokey. But again, we're noticing and we're adding those characteristics to our sensations without any sort of meaning, without any sort of bad, without any sort of good. All the while, we're reminding ourselves that we are safe in the presence of this, and also it's going to pass at some point. And the most incredible thing about somatic tracking, you'll notice, is that once you notice them, they start to move or they start to dissipate.
Yes.
And so as they start to move or they start to dissipate, we will track those things throughout our body. So again, maybe you're someone who has chronic low back pain, right? you notice, you observe, you retrain the way you're thinking about that back pain. You're reminding yourself, I'm okay here. Everything's going to be okay. This is going to pass. I'm safe despite this discomfort. And as that sensation starts to move, you're going to follow it, right? Or you may even kind of move it with your mind, not forcing it, but just moving it with your mind, right? Maybe you start to notice it dissipate as it goes down through your legs and it goes into your feet, and maybe you notice it kind of shoot out your toes, right? Or gently flow out your toes too. Again, there's no good or bad here. So what we're doing when we're actively somatic tracking is we're giving our awareness, we're really diving into that sensation, and then we're allowing it to flow through our body and eventually out of our body.
Yeah. And there's this saying that what you resist persists. And more often than not, subconsciously, we are kind of resisting things, right? And so that is the reason why somatic tracking begins with actually putting our attention on to the very thing that is causing the discomfort, because once our attention is there, now we have a choice. Now we are free of how we respond to it. And if we respond with that curious observer mentality, we respond with changing our visuals around it, and we even respond with softening our bodies into it, that sends a new message of safety back to the nervous system that, sure, these sensations can be there, but they aren't necessarily endangering me. And when that message gets there, sort of paradoxically, oftentimes the sensations start to dissipate.
Yeah, it's absolutely incredible. So try this. Try it at home. Give it 60 seconds. See how it feels. If you notice anything shifting or changing, or even if you notice, oh, I put my energy towards this sensation and it was, a blue orb or whatever it might feel like. We'd love to hear about your guys' experience with this. So feel free to leave a comment below.